So this is for creating custom views on lists. First thing we got to do is find a list in question. So let's actually come over to the people page, and then we're going to come to edit list. And this shows the default view, which shows actually quite a bit of data. But let's say we have something to do where we want a specific subset of data. I'm going to come to the List tab. I'm going to select Create View. I always use Standard View. And then the first thing you do is name the view. So let's just call this Staff Details. And so what I'm going to say is, I don't care about their unique ID. I really just want their name and their email. And let's say their titles. I don't want their picture, their phone. So I'm unchecking the fields that I don't want. If there are any other fields that I do want, like say their alternative email and their alternative phone, I can add those. I can reorganize these by changing the numbers on the side. It's not the most wonderful reorganization feature, but it works. You can sort them, so I can say that I want to sort them by BIOS name ascending. I can have two sort characteristics, so I could sort by one thing and then another thing. I can have filters, so I could say, well, I only want to care about when BIOS classification, let's see, when BIOS classification is equal to staff. The options here is equal to, is not equal to. You can stack multiple filters with ands or ors if you want to get more complicated. Staff and age equals 23, stuff like that. Tabular view is not something I generally mess with. You can group by. So if you wanted to instead sort, instead of saying just staff, you could say sort by, group by BIOS classification, and then it would group people by that in particular field. The rest of the stuff I just don't mess with. Style folders, item limit, mobile. Item limit you can change if you want to show more than more on a page. I'm going to show 50. I don't recommend going above this. You could set it to be 500, and you're going to have a bad experience. Load times will become really unpleasant. And then I'm going to hit OK. And I've got a custom view that shows just the staff, and it shows these individual fields. This guy's left a lot of it blank, but it shows it in the details list here. I can change between views with this list here, so I could go back to, say, all items. I can go over to staff details. I can also switch by going to list, and then under the current view, selecting a list. When you are working on a list, you can also modify the view again. You can change the name of the view. You can change the fields that are shown. You can mess around with all that kind of stuff, and you can also make them when you're creating them. You can make it the default view, which means it's the default view for everybody. When you are making a view, you do get the option only on initial creation of whether it's a view for everybody to see or a view just for you. You can create your own personal views that nobody else sees. And that's really the long and short of creating your own views. Each of them get their own URL. So you could bookmark this view because it's going to say staff details up here, whereas if I said all items, it would say all items up here. So any views you create, even your personal views, get their own things that you could bookmark if you wanted to. And that's about it.